SSDs are everywhere these days. Hi, I'm Patrick Miller, and this isn't a healthcare PSA. I'm talking about solid-state drives, also known as SSDs. They're more rugged and shock-resistant than standard hard drives since they have no moving parts, and they offer fabulous read performance, though write performance varies. Laptops are ideal candidates for SSDs because they get thrown around a bunch, so replacing a more traditional rotating hard drive with a more robust SSD can be a good idea. The main problem, though, is that SSDs are relatively expensive, so you'll likely make a trade-off between performance and capacity. Potentially, you'll be putting in a smaller drive that's faster and more durable. Before jumping in, it's worth checking if your laptop is well suited for a solid-state drive. Here's a few rules of thumb. Is your laptop running Windows XP? While SSDs can work with Windows XP, it isn't as well optimized for SSDs as Vista, and more particularly Windows 7. We'd not recommend replacing your hard drive with an SSD if it's running XP. Does your laptop's BIOS support SSDs? The BIOS of some older laptops won't work properly with solid-state drives. Can your laptop be physically upgraded? Most laptops allow for easy upgrading of the hard drives, but be sure that upgrading won't void your warranty or require some serious surgery on your unit. If your laptop is capable of handling a solid-state drive, there are still a few steps you need to take prior to making the move. If you're running Windows Vista, make sure you've updated to Service Pack 1 to improve performance. You may want to update your system BIOS, and if your system is running in AHCI mode, try changing the BIOS storage access mode to IDE instead. This doesn't always work, but if it does, keep your system running in IDE mode. Next, check your drive layout. You can do this by clicking the Start menu, selecting the Run command, and typing disk mgmt.msc. Some laptops running Vista or Windows 7 may have an invisible partition that contains system recovery information, and if you don't preserve this partition, your new drive might not boot properly. If you do have hidden partitions, you'll want to make sure you duplicate them exactly. Before you get started, back up your data and check your disk capacities. If your current used space exceeds the capacity of the SSD, you'll need to remove some data, and swapping out a laptop hard drive means you somehow need to get the data off the old drive and onto the new one. Here's a couple methods. You can get a small external hard drive case or a docking station with a USB or eSATA interface. Install the SSD in the case, then clone the old drive onto the SSD. Or you can use a third external drive, make a disk image of the old drive, and copy it to the external drive. Install the SSD and reverse the process, copying back the disk image file to the SSD. In addition to hardware considerations, you need to decide what OS you want to install. You can simply put a new version of Windows onto the SSD, then restore all the data you've backed up. However, newer laptops rarely ship with driver or accessory CDs, so if you use this approach, make sure you download all the new drivers you'll need first, especially the networking drivers so you can get back on the web. Consider using migration tools to move data and applications. One option is to use Windows Easy Transfer, or perhaps a more streamlined third-party tool like Laplink's PC Mover. If you don't plan on an OS upgrade, the easiest way to set up the SSD is to use a drive cloning tool to create a bootable CD, then boot from that CD and run the software to copy the drive. Now, let's take a look at installing the SSD. Laptops have different ways of removing installed hardware. Some hard drives live under an easily removable panel, others beneath the keyboard. Some Dell notebooks, for example, have fixed connectors inside the laptop shell, so it's just a matter of lifting the back of the drive and slowly pulling it straight out. Other notebooks also screw the drive into the shell, so watch out for that. In all cases, be very careful about the drive connector. If it breaks, you're looking at an expensive or difficult repair. If you take the time to do your homework, pick the right drive, and prepare ahead of time, your system upgrade to an SSD will go smoothly. The key is to be patient, and don't rush through the steps. And don't forget to back up your drive before making changes. I'm Patrick Miller. Thanks for watching.